change my love the way that you do.
This is the story of a lost neighborhood and of its people who did not want to go.
I don't want no money. I want my home. The old man is old. See how the old man is old? No more. That's enough. I don't want to get out. I said to my two daughters, they don't want to get out too because they spend a lot of money. Plenty of money they spend in this place. We not get out for nobody. Never.
Hi, welcome to the West End Video Newsletter. We do the West End House once a year, and tonight is the West End House show. And we have with us Kristen Morlock. She's the Assistant Director of Development at the West End House. She's here to tell you about the West End House. I mean, it's a great old establishment. It was founded in 1906, and they've done wonderful things for kids, not just in the West End, which they left around 1970, I guess, or 1960, somewhere in there, because there were there weren't any more kids in the West End. The West End had become a transient neighborhood, and they really didn't have a mission in the West End anymore, so they decided to move out to Allston Brighton, which they felt had a need for them. It's almost, as a matter of fact, I would say they've extended themselves even more than they were in the West End. And they fit very well out there.
Right.
And,
thank you. It's great to be here.
And usually we have Andrea Howard. She usually comes, but today she couldn't make it, so we have Kristen. You know, what was the West End? The West End House was founded in 1906, and do you have a little history of the West End House?
Yeah, it was founded in 1906 in, of course, the original West End of Boston, on Blossom Street down there. And, you know, their mission was very much the same as what we still do today, and it's to help kids, help kids overcome different obstacles that may be in their environment to, you know, becoming productive and wonderful citizens.
That's right.
And you know, something that we still continue to do today in Allston Brighton.
Well, they have a great mission because that's, you know, and like I say, I don't know how many kids they helped in the West End. I mean, there was a lot of them, and I'm sure that they helped out quite. Brian Honan and his brother.
Right. Some wonderful alumni.
Yeah, I mean, the West End House has actually, you know, helped a lot of people.
Right, it's great that that I think the West End House has those roots in the original West End, and a lot of people still stay involved from those older days, and you know, continue to be involved now.
Well, in the old days, they really didn't need fundraisers because a lot of the old timers were very successful.
Right.
And it was basically they were taking from in-house. They were fundraising like in-house, and everybody from the West End would kick in. Unfortunately, most of us are dying.
Well, we have some, some wonderful friends who are alumni of the Boys and Girls Club, and you know, George Kane and people like that. You know, it's in memory of Louis Kane, and the Lewises and the Gordons are big supporters. So we're very lucky.
Well, even Sumner Redstone at one point gave some money.
Absolutely.
For the West End House.
For the renovation.
And a lot of people don't realize that Sumner Redstone grew up in the West End, and he's reluctant to talk about it because I think when in his early days, him and Doc Zagansky did some things together. So, whenever he's interviewed, he has a tendency to move away from the West End. But be that as it may, yeah, you're director of development. Could you tell us a little bit of what you do?
Absolutely. I got involved in the West End House when I went to Boston College, and I was a volunteer at the West End House. I was a basketball coach, and you know, helped kids with their homework, and just loved it so much that I wanted to stay. And now I do fundraising. This is a big thing that I do, trying to raise funds for the operations of the club and expand the programs that we have for the kids in Allston Brighton.
It's probably the most important job, too.
It's challenging. It's definitely that. It's great. I'm really happy to be involved in the organization.
Because as much as everybody loves a good organization, if there isn't any money to run it, people don't just say, here, okay, you owe us $100,000, it's all right.
Right.
That doesn't happen. So if you don't have the money to go on.
But luckily, the West End House has a terrific board. The board of directors is tremendous, and Andrea Howard, the executive director, between her and the board, they really
At one point, I was on the board. They developed this big board, and I'll tell you the truth. It's much better that I think they pared it down a little bit, because at one time they had like 24 people or something. There was
That's a lot.
And I would make it as much as I could, but I couldn't make it all the time. I just couldn't get out there for the meetings all the time.
Right.
And it's probably better, smaller, much more committed people.
Yeah, it takes a lot of dedication, I think,
Right,
because
yeah.
but it's a great cause. So.
Okay, well, could you tell us a little bit about the programs you have?
Sure, gosh. Well, we serve, right now in Allston-Brighton, we serve kids 6 to 18, and we have a pretty wide variety of programming for them in education, the arts, athletics. Originally we're known for our basketball program and swimming, but we also have a really strong after-school program that helps kids with their homework, takes volunteers from area colleges, Boston University, Boston College, brings them in and helps kids with their homework. We have a terrific education director. Her name is Kristen. She's great, and she stays on track with all the kids and their homework and knows the teachers. And our athletic director, he's John Leary. He's also great, and he had a really successful basketball season. I promised him I'd say that. A great basketball season, a winning season.
They've always said, when I was younger, they won the settlement national championship. They went to New York and played.
Yeah,
they've always said they've had a history of great basketball teams. But go ahead.
Great. No, that's okay. It's good to know that it's a history.
Yeah.
And Syria Vasquez is our aquatics director, and she's just coming off of, they went to the Nationals in Florida for the first time, and this is after never winning a meet. This season they won almost every meet and went to the Nationals in Florida and had a tremendous time. And it was just great for the kids and their self-esteem, and for that program it was really great. So there's a lot of stuff going on at the club.
Yeah, the West End House has a full-size pool. It's an Olympic-size pool?
Full-size pool, yeah, great gym. And
of course, in the West End we had to swim in the Charles River.
Yeah.
That was before it was polluted. You could swim. They had a beach. They had a beach down there.
Come a long way.
Yeah, it certainly has. Well, why don't you give us the address and the email?
Absolutely.
Sure.
We're the West End House Boys and Girls Club, and we're at 105 Allston Street, and that's in Allston, Massachusetts, 02134. And our website is wehbgc.org.
Okay.
So
that's in case anybody out there decides that they want to be a volunteer and help out. The West End House is always looking for people to help them out. It's a good cause. People should, normally, if it's a good cause, and you're looking to volunteer.
Yeah, it's really a great place. The kids are so much fun to be around, and we need role models, and we need volunteers to come and.
It's a good place to be there.
Absolutely, it's fun, and it's there's a number of things you can get involved in if you have an interest in the arts. We have a new art program for the kids in visual and performing arts. If you're interested in athletics, we have that. If you're interested in helping kids with their homework, we have that. I mean, really, or you can just hang out and play ping pong with kids. I mean, there's really a lot.
That's right.
There's a lot that people can do, and all of them are valuable. They're all valuable in their own way for kids.
Yeah, well, the strength of any club or settlement houses, like they used to call them in the old days, is that they have a place to go.
Right.
And they can do something. It doesn't matter whether they succeed at it. I mean, that's good because it gives them a little self-confidence and everything. But it gives them a place to go where they can be themselves and learn little things. Like in the West End House, they used to have boxing and everything. And in those days, people needed boxing skills.
Yeah. It's funny how I think each kid who's there has at least one thing that they love to do at the club, and that's important. I mean, whether it's swimming or whether it's just playing foursquare in the games room or one staff person that they come to go see. I think that's what it's all about. It's always been a home. It was a home in the original West End, and it's a home now in Allston-Brighton. So that's really the most heartwarming part about the club.
It just gave you that added extension. You could either you didn't stay in your house like in the West End. You didn't stay in your house all the time, so you went out in the corner. Now, if you stayed on the corner all the time, constantly, you just could get into mischief.
Might get into trouble.
Do a little mischief. These places gave kids something to do.
Right.
And they learn values other than let's go break a window.
Right.
So it was a totally different place where they could learn a little something. They used to have declamation contests in the West End House where they would argue and.
Right. We have a similar thing. We have this spelling bee that we do every week that Kristen runs, and we also have a really great leadership group. It's called the Keystone Leadership Group, and it's for teenagers. And they just got back. It's a group of about 30 teenagers, and they meet every week. They plan community service projects. They go out into the community. They do different things involving community activism and, you know, cleanups and all that. And they did a bone marrow drive, and it's just great to see young people like committed to a cause like that. So I think it's really challenging for them too, and empowering.
Well, I think the role of a house like the West End House and the Boys and Girls Clubs are a little different today than they were back then, because, you know, in those days, there were actually people going hungry. I mean, food.
Right.
And,
Right.
Nowadays, I don't think that's as big a problem, and sometimes you didn't have enough clothes to wear and everything.
Right,
I think in the United States, everybody gets, I don't want to say enough.
Right.
Okay, but it's not as bad as it was. And I think now it's more feeding the spiritual soul, or not even spiritual, you know, the
Yeah,
creative
that's a good
soul.
way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
Is basically where it's lacking nowadays. I mean, most people have their, if not elite, if not fulfilled, okay, in other words, their, you know, comforts like eating and sleeping and all that. Now it's more like developing the creative side of the
Right.
kids, because it's a whole different era.
I think that's really true. I think that's great. That's one of the good things too about the club, is that, you know, we touch upon all those parts of the kid. You know, the creative side, the athletic side, the academic side, and also, you know, we have a dinner program that the kids eat. We all eat together
right.
every night, so it's you know, like you said, nourishing every part of them spiritually, and
it becomes like family after a while.
Right.
When you interact that much with people, yeah, especially
Right.
when you're sitting eating. I mean, you know, it's only
talk about your day,
yeah,
just like, you know, the family sitting around the table talking about their day.
And it's funny because most people nowadays, families don't sit around tables anymore.
Right.
I mean, it's really strange. In my day, you had
Kind
to
of a
sit
lost tradition.
Yeah, you had to sit at the table and you had to talk. Now, most kids would be bored to hell with it. But,
Right.
now that you're older and everything, you look back and you realize that you've
How
missed
important
something.
that was.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's a whole different. You also have a golf tour coming up, right?
We do, as one of our, we do a lot of fundraisers during the year for the Boys and Girls Club, and, you know, the community gets involved, and we are having a golf tournament in August, so if people want to put together a foursome, they should contact the West End House, and it's a great cause. And I don't have the exact date on that yet, but you can look at the website and
Do we
call
give the
us.
phone number?
Sure, I can. It's 617-787-4044.
And you can also, I guess you can access the website too, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes, you can access
So-
the website. And we're just coming off another fundraiser. We had a team that was in the Boston Marathon, and we're able to
Right.
raise a lot of money through that. And we have 40 people, and each of them gets a number from the Boston Athletic Association, so it's an official running.
Right.
And each person raises $2,500 as a minimum. So we were lucky enough to have a terrific team, and we raised $120,000 for the club. So
That's good.
yeah, it
That's
was
good.
great.
The
It was
West End could use all of it. I mean,
Definitely.
West End House, yeah.
Yeah, and that just, you know, helps us do a lot more programs for kids. It brings a lot to
They
our
get the
organization.
jackets too?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Well, it's a great story. The swim team just coming back from their nationals in Florida. You know, a group of people came together and raised some money for them to buy these blue jackets that said, you know, West End House National Swim Team.
Okay.
And so that was
Yeah, but when
great.
you run the marathon, they give you a jacket too, don't they?
Yeah, at the end, they give you one of those big Mylar blankets, and if you're walking still, you're kind of struggling at that point. But
Yeah, I don't think I could ever do it. I think that's a little too far for me. I don't
Yeah.
think I could have did it when I was 18. Never mind now that I'm...
it was great. It was a lot of fun. I actually ran it also with
Is that
them,
right?
so it was
What was your
tough.
time?
4 hours and 58 minutes.
Okay.
So I finished alive. That was my goal.
That's
was
a lot
tough.
of people. I
Yeah.
watched some of those people straggle in,
Ooh,
and
it was
it's
rough.
amazing. You also have computer programs.
We do, yeah. The kids love it, and in the new building, you probably see pictures of the new building. We just completed a renovation in Alston. And there's 2 computer labs, one on the first floor and one on the new 3rd floor. One is for teens and one is for the kids. And they do all kinds of classes, from computer basics to, you know, digital photography to web design, and they're getting into some really great stuff, and they really enjoy it. Again, it's just one more thing to add to the, you know, there might be a couple kids out there who are interested in that, and that might be the way that we, you know, serve those kids. So,
Well, we have a few pictures of the
of the new,
new building, and we'll show them now.
sure.
Aren't those beautiful?
All right. Virtual.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a great new building, and we're lucky to have it. A lot of people put a lot of hard work into that, and it's tremendous. I mean, the kids walk in, and the old building was great also, but it was getting old, and the new building has a lot of windows, and it's all has a lot of natural light, and it's a lot bigger with the new third floor. So new third floor,
beautiful.
teen center, a dance studio. So a lot of exciting stuff going on in there.
It sounds like I should get over it. I probably will. When I
come by,
Yeah.
give you a tour, give you the grand tour. We're good at that.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
it's great because the third floor is where the teen center is. And there was a really sad occurrence in the West End house when Brian Honan passed away. And we, in honor of him, in order to pay like a real tribute to his life and what he's meant to the community, we're beginning to organize it's called the Brian Honan Youth Leadership Forum. And these are kids who are really involved in community activism and could perhaps have a career in public service. And it's going to be a program designed around leadership and what those kids need. So that's going to be starting pretty soon. Kind of a living tribute to Brian Honan.
Like I say, what was tragic about that Brian Honan death was that 3 weeks he died 3 weeks before he was supposed to be a guest on the show when he was running for the district attorney's office.
Right.
And it really hit me hard. He was a great guy.
Yeah, there's great stories about him. How he's actually the original West End House member when Austin Brighton opened. So he's always been committed to us and.
Yeah, they brought a whole new generation into the West End House mystique, or whatever you want to call it. It was, and it's always had that. The old timers sort of eased it into anybody that came out there.
I say it's like everything else, passing of the torch, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, and then the neighborhood has benefited quite well from the West End House, and the West End House. The neighborhood is also taking care of the West End house to an extent. I don't suppose they gave him any problem about raising up the third story.
No.
Sometimes people get a little crazy.
Right. Well, I think it's the good thing about the new building is that it's right. The West End House building is right at Ringer Park, and so it's been good, I think, because it provides some more light back there. An area where a lot of possible crimes might occur, and it kind of provides new life to the park area, so people were, I think, happy to have it be there.
Yeah, that street's, I think maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like I don't spend a lot of time out there, so I can't tell. Just from passing, it seems like it's becoming a transient street. You know what I mean? The residencies.
Yeah. I think Austin Brighton is always, it's very diverse, I think. There's a lot of families and people make Austin Brighton their home. There's a lot of students. There's a lot of different populations there, so it's great when it all kind of comes together and everybody can enjoy that. But I think it also presents some problems sometimes. So the West End House hopefully is there for everybody. We have college students who volunteer, we have community members who volunteer, community members who are alumni. Hopefully it kind of touches all populations in Austin Brighton. So.
And BC, in the last couple of years, to me, the last couple of years is like 20. So they've gotten very BC and the West End House have gotten very close.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine used to work up at BC. He died. He was a black kid, John Moore.
Okay.
He was he was up there, and he was on the board too of the West End House, and he died about 8-9 years ago. He was a great guy.
Yeah, the neighborhood has BC right there, Boston University right there, Harvard University, and I think all three of those colleges play a part in the West End House. So we've been lucky.
Yeah. But I think BC is you're a little closer to BC.
Right. A lot of volunteers we get from BC, which is that's where I came from. Original volunteer from BC.
That's good. That's what it should be. Especially most college students are looking to do something anyway.
Right. It gets them out of their environment. They get to see kind of a different perspective on things, and get to help a lot of great kids, and kind of come out and get to forget about your finals that you have to take, and just do some really positive things.
And rubbery pizza.
Right. Exactly. Forget about that. I know our cook is much better. Her name is Letitia, and
Is that right?
She's great. She cooks dinner for the kids every night. And
Yeah. Oh, you have it every night. They used to have it like on Mondays night.
yeah,
Monday
we
nights.
expand it when we open the
Okay.
new building.
Yeah.
Mostly because we found just a terrific
Cook.
yeah, she's our Kids Cafe coordinator, and she's great, and cooks for the kids Monday through Friday, and does just, I mean, everybody loves to eat down there. So it's
Maybe
great.
I should stop over
You
more
should.
often.
5:30 is dinner, so come and eat with us.
Okay. Any other events that are going to be happening in the future that you can?
Well, the golf tournament in the summer, and we are going to have a shootout that we're going to have that in the fall.
Okay.
And that's again another fundraiser. We hope people come out, and it's basically a foul shooting contest.
Yeah, I think they have that every year.
Yep,
pretty much,
that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, but that's good. You know,
It's in the
people
fall.
I think what is it? How is it? It works that you
Get sponsors
sponsors for
per
it.
shot.
Yep.
Per how many foul shots you can make,
Right.
and it's a lot of fun because the kids get involved, and it's a great way for us to raise money.
And the camp. You can't
And
forget
the
the camp.
Can't forget the camp.
You can't forget the camp.
Can't forget
The
Bill
camp-
Margolin.
The camp is still the same. It was the same back in 1906.
Right.
Well, they didn't have it in 1906. I don't know when they finally got the camp. but-
Right, and I've-
except it had tents instead of cabins.
Yeah. I mean, Bill Margolin does such a great job with that, and
Yeah.
I've actually never been up there. He keeps telling me I got to go up there, but
Yeah.
I hear. I mean, the great thing is the camp also they give some of the kids from the club scholarships, so that those kids get to go to the camp in Maine.
Historically.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
have a great time up there. So they tell me all about it.
When the West End was up, most of the kids couldn't afford to go to
Right,
camp. They
right.
just couldn't. If they were going to if they were send kids to camp, it would have been kids from somewhere else.
Right,
They
right.
either gave them scholarships or West End kids would end up at the
Right.
West End House. And Parsons, was it Parsonsfield?
Parsonsfield, Maine. Yeah.
Parsonsfield, Maine. It's nice. I used to go every year. Then I had bypass surgery. I had heart problems, and I didn't go up. Meaning they have
It's relaxing. up
Old
there.
Timers Week.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Heard all about that.
It's a lot of fun. Okay, and you go up there, and what it is you eat, sleep, get up when you want. Everything you couldn't do when you were
Actually, in summer camp.
in summer camp, right? As an adult, you go up there, and you can play cards, and you can
great.
do other things. And it's very interesting. A lot of West End guys still go there. I haven't been there for
do.
about 6
Yeah.
years, and every year I keep saying, this is the year I'm going to do it, right?
Right.
And it seems like something always comes up. It's the last week in August, I guess, or maybe not the last week, but it's the week
end of
immediately
August,
after the camp closes. And usually they have very good cooks up there, or at least when I was going up there, the food wasn't bad at all.
They always have a great time. I
Yeah.
hear the stories about.
So one time, when I first started, this is I guess about 12 years ago, I even forgot his name. He was a state trooper. He came from the West End. He did 20 years in the Air Force, I think it was, and then he became a state trooper in Maine. And I was talking to him, and I was telling him about the camp, and so I gave him where the camp was, and we were up there on Old Timers Week, and he came in with the sirens blaring. He had what was happening, but it turned out.
Yeah, they have such a good, and the kids have a great time up there. I hear all about they do the color war at the end, and go swimming and canoeing and play volleyball, everything. I mean, it sounds.
Well, baseball. I mean, the whole thing, and
Right.
they have competition.
Great community. I think
they have
found.
competition. They
Yep.
foster competition between the different cabins, and they all, they have like I think they, if I remember right, they had a big board where everybody,
I think so,
each
yeah.
team was, where they stood.
Different points and.
Different points, yeah.
That's great.
Anyway, it's interesting, and baseball and swimming. I mean, they're on a beautiful little pond.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous up there.
Beautiful little pond. I mean, I don't know if they call it a lake or a pond or whatever it
Yeah.
is, but it's nice.
It's great for the kids to get away, get out of the,
Well, more so, I guess nowadays, like I say, I guess it's the same as like eating and in the old days, kids never seen grass.
Right. Right. They're like, where's the
You're
streets?
in these. especially like the West End was all brick buildings. You were in these canyons, you know, brick canyons. And
Absolutely.
so you went out and to be in a place where there was greenery, trees, pine trees, and actually dirt where you could, you know, I mean, I'm not talking about dirt, but, you know, ground.
Right.
Where you could look at it and everything.
And we have a few kids who have gotten scholarships to go up to camp, and you know, for these kids, they've never experienced that. They've never been, you know, to a place like that, to a place that's not a city, to a place that's not, you know, a landscape that's not made of cement and brick and all that. So for those kids, it's they come back and they're just,
well,
they can be different kids up there. They can be, you know.
That's right. Your lifestyle changes. So whenever you change your lifestyle, it interacts with you.
Yeah.
And you get a different perspective. Now, sometimes you come back and you lose that perspective again, but, you know, and it's peaceful. You could go up there. Well, of course, when we go up there, there's no kids. So you can go up there and walk in the woods or walk down by the lake, and, you know, you can just sit there, and it just sort of like, you know, the quietness and the peacefulness, serenity just sinks into you. And
I know. Every time you hear Bill talk about it, he gets kind of a glow.
Yeah, Bill is always, and he's run the camp for I don't know how many years, and he does a hell of a job.
He is amazing.
And it's not easy.
He remembers everybody's name. He just is. He's amazingly organized, and everything is saves everything is systemized, and he's a great guy.
And it's been a long time now. And the camp is a great camp. And they have a big, it looks like a big log cabin. It's a basketball court.
Oh, really?
Basketball gym, yeah. They have a big basketball gym. You go in there. I mean, it's, you know, rough hewn logs, and I mean, not logs, but...
I think, and from some of the things that Bill's told me, a lot of the campers are kids of former campers, so it's really
a lot of them
passed down in the family.
And what happens is, you know, the kids now, a lot of the kids that are going there aren't underprivileged kids anymore. The ones that, you know, a lot of these families have more than enough money, right? So they can send them to any kind of camp, like, you know. But they send them to West End House Camp because they want to, you know, give a little bit of heritage, you know, West End heritage and going up. Well, we're coming to the end of the show now. Is there anything else you'd like to speak about, you know?
Just, you know, if anyone wants to get involved, they can contact us, and it's a great place to volunteer if you're looking for some volunteer work, or just want to come check us out, come to Alston. That's
right, and go see the pool, and I have to actually see the new building myself.
We also have an adult health club too, I should say, if people want to join the health club.
That's true too. That's true.
You can come swim and work out upstairs. So.
That's right. We forgot all about that.
Yeah, well, got to throw it in. Come join the health club.
Okay, Kristen. I'm glad you can make it, and it was nice to have you here. And I guess we'll see all you at the next West End Video Newsletter.
Thanks for having me.
Out of sight, out of mind. You found someone new, but I can't change my love the way that you do.
This is the story of a lost neighborhood and of its people who did not want to go.